Good evening, viewers. Good night, and welcome back to Cricket Nation. Yes, we are back, and we are back with a bang. I'm your co-host, Gary Mathre, and we have our new co-host in Jamal James, former Windward Islands cricketer, the St. Lucia cricketer. Jamal, just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, Gary, thanks for that welcome, but it would be remiss of me not to publicly just thank the Almighty for the opportunity and
For sure.
also the production team at Winners TV. And a wonderful opportunity it is to interact with the nation. So once again, good night to everyone out there. Jamal James, as you mentioned, cricketer, teacher by profession.
Yes, yes.
And I've had a real love affair for cricket from a very young age. So I'm just delighted to be here to share some insight and knowledge.
Okay, great, guys. So you can see, as we can see, we have a great cricket brain in Jamal James. He loves the game. I've interacted with you quite a few times, captained you before, also. So we know each other very, very well. So I suppose we have a very, very good thing going on Cricket Nation. We have a lot to discuss in terms of cricket. Lots of cricket that has gone by recently. We've had the Winlot Senior Tournament. We have the under 23 going on currently. The inaugural under 23 going on currently between Dominica and St. Lucia. We had the recently concluded Rising Stars on the 19s tournament. That's not. We're gonna just briefly talk about those things also. Plus, so for me, Jamal, tell me a little bit more about the Winlot competition, as I know that you were part of the commentary team, so you were right in the midst of everything. Can you just enlighten us a little bit more about that?
Yes, doing the commentary gave me more insights and more in-depth knowledge about what really took place. It was a really exciting tournament, and from a St. Lucian perspective, it was a tournament that we were expected to have won. When being at home, Gary, as you would know, there's that home advantage, but unfortunately, St. Lucia was not able to secure that victory. I'm not sure in the final analysis if we placed second or third. There was a rain delay, it was interrupted, but in the end, most people would consider that only the victory matters.
Only.
And that euphoria of victory went to Dominica, our sister isle. And St. Lucia did win 2 games. It was a rain-affected tournament. The first day was washed out, and credit to the organizers for continual efforts to have the games played. But in the end, only 3 were played. St. Lucia won 2, as mentioned, so did Dominica. And because of the ruling that on head-to-head, Dominica secured victory. But credit must be given to the way that St. Lucia played, especially in the first 2 games. And we must highlight performers like Noel Leo.
Yes.
Noel Leo, someone that you would have coached.
Yes, I've coached him for quite a while at the St. Lucia Sports Academy. Yes.
Talented left-handed
Very
batter.
talented,
explosive. Yes, played for the under-19 last year and making his debut at senior level and playing his first match against Grenada team. And Gary, you would have coached the Windward Islands team as well. So that Grenadian team boasted the likes of Preston McSween, Ryan John, Sherman Lewis, who actually played for West Indies. So here is Noel making his debut against bowlers. All the bowlers have had first-class experience. And the way that Leo would have dismantled the bowling attack, along with Melius to a certain extent. But we expected that of Kimani Melius, given his seasoned nature in the game, his status in the game. But Noel recorded a score of 70. And at Windward's level, it's sometimes difficult to get a half century. So to get one in your first innings, kudos to him.
Yes, kudos to Noel. And you, like you rightly said, St. Lucia, they were defending champions of that particular tournament.
But last year, Gary, that was
under my guidance. I was coaching them at that time. But even at that time, Noel Leo, he didn't get a game over there because he had a really, really good unit. So for him to come into this year's team and then in his first game perform like that, I think credit goes to him and the development and his development. I think it only augurs well for St. Lucia cricket, and hopefully he could continue, performing like that. I could, from my recollection of things, he only had maybe just that first score, just that one score in the tournament, but he could build on that. And for me, you had quite a few other performers. I must say, congrats to the Dominica team for winning this tournament, because for over the past few years, Dominica has been sort of in a stellar position, almost placing last most of the times. So it's kudos to Dominica cricket in terms of the improvements that they've made, and the strides that they've made for the last few years. Like I said, at all levels, Dominica would have struggled, whether it be under 15 or under 19, and senior. So to see them winning this tournament, kudos to them. They played some really, really good cricket, and they have some fine talent, young talent coming up. So yes, like you said earlier, I remember, I just want to allude to a point that you made, that we expected better from the St. Lucia team. Can you just touch on that a little bit?
But before touching on that, I must also mention Keon Gasto.
Yes, Keon Gasto. He took a 5 in the first game.
Took up a 5-wicket haul.
First 5-wicket haul for St. Lucia as a fast bowler. So yeah, he's and again another youngster who has shown a lot of promise throughout the years. So it's nice to see the development.
Yes, had been at the level for, I think this would have been his 3rd year. So finally just getting things together and showing us a taste of what is to come. A young man still playing at the under 23 level. A member of the HPC team as well. Something that we'll definitely have to discuss, because the majority of this team actually come from the HPC. Yes, so Keon Gaston must be congratulated, as well as Shadrach Descat, who continues to do well for St. Lucia. And I just feel that he has been the standout player for St. Lucia in the last 3 years.
Yes,
we have had 2 centuries and a half century this year, as well as a 4-wicket haul in the same game.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, he, from us especially winning the tournament last year, he played an integral part in us winning the tournament as an all-rounder. You have Akim Ogis, who did very, very well in the last tournament, and also helping us securing that championship. And you could see his cricket has blossomed ever since. He didn't get the scores that he would have wanted in that that senior tournament, but we'll discuss him a little later, because we know he broke some records in terms of scoring 308 or something? 308 thereabouts. Congrats to him, and hope that he just continues in that vein, because he's a fine talent.
Yes, but you mentioned Dominica a while ago, Gary, and I just feel like this year seems like the year of Dominica's rise.
Yeah.
And we'd have seen what happened with Kavem Hodge on the international scene. 100, Alec Afanas getting that 90 and looking so composed and so elegant in his stroke play. There's flair, there's aesthetic appeal, all of those things. Real intrigue about his batting. And to have those 2 players absent from the tournament, and for Dominica to still end up lifting the championship, credit must be given to them.
Yes, and you'd like to think those guys making the strides at international cricket would have sparked some confidence in Dominica, some interest in the youngsters taking the cricket a lot more seriously, and you could see the fact that those guys have made those strides in terms of playing international cricket. The youngsters in Dominica are seeing that those things can be done, because you're really seeing even Stefan Pascal, who was he captained the West Indies team, the under-19 team in the World Cup, and you could see he's growing into his own as a really, really good cricketer, and looking to follow the footsteps, I'm sure, of those guys before him. You talk about Alec and Kavem, and those guys have been doing very, very well at international cricket.
But just looking at Pascal, it just seems like a matter of time.
Yes.
There's touch, there's timing, there's a bit of class when
very
you
much
see
so,
this man, especially when he's cover driving that ball.
Yeah.
He looks a class apart. But just seeing him at the senior level, right? He was the vice captain of the team and standing captain, Tyron Fairfield, senior player, was off for the majority.
Of the game.
He picked up an injury. I think it was really strained, the hamstring, right? So it was actually Stefan Pascal marshalling the troops. So he played an integral part in Dominica's victory. And we must commend Gillan Tyson.
Yes.
That display of fast bowling really unsettled the St. Lucian batting. Now, St. Lucia had boasted a star-studded batting lineup. And for that lineup to have been dismantled in that way, it was honestly shocking to me. I really expected the quality of guys that we have. I expected for them to have put up a bit more of a fight. We only had to chase a score below 170. So when we saw that, we figured, all right, St. Lucia has it in the bag.
Yeah, it was a done deal.
But what we saw is that, I mean, cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties and shifting fortunes. So to have Gillan Tyson, as we say, he ran after the batting lineup.
Yeah, because he took, kudos to him, he took, I'm certainly shocked, career best at that level, 7-4, 7-4, where he took at least 7 wickets out of our batting lineup, and he bowled some really good spells of bowling. And like you said, with the caliber of batting that we have within the national setup, would you say that we could have acquitted ourselves much better? Or it was just Dylan's day and he was just bowling really well, and our batters were not able to negotiate him as they should have?
It's a real good question, Gary, and we can't just analyze that game. We need to look at all 3 games, and the scores were not heavy. So we chased in all 3 games, and all scores were below 250.
Right.
And with that star-studded lineup, better was expected. So it seemed as if we struggled to have gotten those runs. No one really stood up to the rest of the bowling to just make it happen, to show that confidence that, hey, I'm here to grab this tournament by the scruff of the neck. So barring that 70 from Leo and that rescue effort from Shadrach, the batters can't really say that they acquitted themselves that well. So,
because when you look at the batting lineup too, you have somebody, the likes of Tyrell Chico, batting at somewhat, is it 9 or 10? That's to show you that he could handle himself with the bat very well. In some of the games, we could have seen that. I think one of the games he took St. Lucia over the line and looking really good as a batter. So
he did it twice.
Twice, matter of fact. So just looking at the batting lineup, the batting lineup was really star-studded.
But just to mention it, you had Kimani Melius with some CPL experience, former West Indian Under 19 captain. You had Noel Leo on debut. Right, you had Akim Auguste, a guy who definitely deserves an honorable mention today. There was John L. Eugene, Keon Gasto, Tyrell Chico, Vern Gabriel, with a century on trials, coming in with some good form.
Yeah, so the guys had they came in with some good form. They came in with cricket under their belt, and like you just alluded to, or you mentioned earlier, majority of those players that were selected in the national team, some of them were part of, or most of them were part of the HPC, right? So so we'll just just go to Akim's video here, as our technician has told us. We just go to Akim's video. Let's have a nice view of this, and we're just having a look at Akim's 300, the triple century, looking really good.
It was a real pleasure at that moment to be the one on commentary to signal that historic moment.
That's an historic moment. And as we could say, this is the highest individual score by any batter from St. Lucia at any level. So congrats to Akim Auguste for getting a triple century. And let me tell you, Jamal, as a batter, you know a triple century against any sort of bowling is a difficult task, and for him to get that under his belt, I think that's a very good feat, and like I said, it only augurs well for St. Lucia cricket, and like I said, you were there watching that game. Can you just run us through, what transpired through that game in terms of how they went out to play? Because I know within that very same game, we had Stefan Pascal from Dominica scoring 160. So again, kudos to him. And those are the guys we were just mentioning earlier, and they keep improving.
Yes, and speaking of kudos, some must be given to the organizers of the tournament. The under-23 really serves as a wonderful initiative, because you know that so many cricketers are lost in that pathway from under-19 to senior level. So much talent, because it's so difficult to make that upward climb. So to have this tournament, to just gather those guys, keep them interested, give them an avenue, a little pathway for upward mobility, was wonderful.
And also, Jamal, it's a really, really good point. Hold that thought. I know that you were there. I also heard there was a little controversy in terms of Hakim being out on 150. I was not there. I didn't get to see watch the game on the live stream. And here we see it on the television with him being out of his crease and man-carded. And I'm not sure what transpired there. But you could see him clearly walking off. So can you just, if you being there, can you just guide us in terms of what transpired there?
Well, Hakim Ogis was in full control, really dismantling the
bowling,
the Dominican bowling, right? Showed some complete authority, really. But Dominica needed to restrict St. Lucia before they got to that 354 margin. And Hakim Ogis stood in the way. Mm-hmm. Boundaries were being hit at will, 6s and 4s everywhere, the river outside, vehicles were in trouble. Mm-hmm. So the bowling was really tired, and they needed to find a way to dismiss Ogis. Right. So they turned to the most controversial way, the man card.
The man card, yeah.
Now, as you know, man card is a very controversial decision, a form of getting out. It really stands in the intersection between spirit of the game. Mm-hmm. Right, and the laws of cricket. So it is a part of the law. So the Dominicans were well within their right. They felt that Ogis was possibly trying to gain an unfair advantage, which from the replay didn't really look like the case, right?
Right.
But he was out of his ground, and the bowler stopped the action and whipped off the bails. The umpire, based on the laws, had to have given that out.
Yes, because as we well know, the Dominica team would have been well within their rights. It's part of the game. I remember there was, not just recently, maybe a year or two, that happened during the Dream 11. I'm not sure which team, but I could recall it happened, and it was a little bit controversial. But yes, it happened, and we want to let folks know that that's part, and that's within the rules of the game. It is legal to run out a batter if he's out of his crease, because what would have happened, somebody could argue that if he's out of the crease, he's giving himself a head start in terms of getting to the next end. But it's not the ideal way for you to have gotten a batter out. It's not the ideal way, and I guess that's why maybe from what I heard, that the Dominica captain called him back into bat. Can you shed some light on that?
What I saw at the time, Stefan Pascal, the Dominican captain, he stood at first slip in disbelief. It didn't appear as if he was in full support of what had happened. He just stood here, crossed his arms, put his hand over his face. The umpire raised the finger and the bowler was celebrating, but he wasn't. He consulted with the vice captain. Ogis had already gone. Royce Paul already came to the wicket.
Yes, we could see that clearly on the video, yeah.
And then you just saw the vice captain going to speak to the umpire in an effort to possibly get Ogis to come back, because the senior men on the field were not pleased with the decision. All right, they were not in support of what had happened. And in the end, the umpire called the captain, Pascal, to have a word, and he he withdrew his appeal. That's the right words to use. And the umpire called Ogis back to the wicket. But what I saw was an explosion in the online community, that the Dominicans felt that they should have let Ogies go out because it would have resulted in a certain victory.
For them, yeah. Well, he obviously stood in the way of Dominica. He got 300. Some would argue, some would say it's really good sportsmanship by the Dominica captain in terms of calling him back. But do you think that would have been a decision for the entire team to have made in terms of him having a consensus with the team? We're not sure. I'm not sure if that had transpired. And maybe. He could have had that decision, just at least have a discussion with his team prior to making that decision. And like I said, we are not sure whether that happened. But you could say very, very good sportsmanship by the Dominica team, and some would, being that they lost the game, everybody would, people would always say in hindsight or, if. But hold that thought, Jamal. We'll go to our first break. We got to pay some bills.
Get ready to witness the future of athletics. The World Athletics Under-20 Championships Lima 24 are here, and you can catch every thrilling moment live on Winners TV. From August 27th to August 31st, watch the world's top young athletes compete in a showcase of speed, strength, and agility. See emerging stars from across the globe break records and make history. Don't miss out on the action. Tune in to Winners TV and experience the excitement of tomorrow's champions today. The World Athletics Under-20 Championships Lima 24, where greatness begins.
CPL T20 Cricket returns to the Caribbean for the 12th season from August 29th to October 6, 2024. And Winners TV, the official CPL television broadcaster for St. Lucia, will bring every one of the 34 matches. The big names in cricket, both regional and international, will be there. Be part of the CPL experience by tuning in to Winners TV to join the fun and excitement. Live matches, highlights, and special player interviews. Winners TV got it all. CPL T20, the 2024 edition, is the biggest party in sports. Watch it all live, exclusively on Winners TV, starting August 29th.
Welcome to Winners Sports Beat.
For the most comprehensive sports news broadcast, tune in to Winners Sports Beat, weeknights at 7:30 p.m. Sports Beat features the latest scores, news highlights, and interviews that keeps sports fans informed on what's happening in sports. Winners Sports Beat captures the pulse of the sports world. Watch Sports Beat for exclusive inside information and breaking news on what's really happening behind the scenes. Sports Beat covers the big games, the big plays, and the big wins. Watch Winners Sports Beat weeknights at 7:30 p.m. with daily repeats.
Yes, we are back again. Jamal, good night again to all of our viewers. We've been talking about the Akim's 303, fantastic stuff by him. And like I said earlier, he's a fantastic talent. A really, really good all-rounder. I personally see him as a really good all-rounder because he could bowl quite good leg spin also.
Very good leg spin.
When I've coached him, I've utilized him quite a bit bowling leg spin, and we could see that he had done that. But that discussion, we will just leave it behind just a little, and we'll touch on the CPL. CPL is about to start, Jamal. That starts from August 29th. That starts from, and don't forget, this year's CPL viewers is presented by the Republic Bank, which is the title sponsors for this year's CPL. We have 34 matches. 30 matches will be held at about 7 p.m. and the next 4 would be about 10 p.m. In St. Lucia, we have 4 games that will be from the 7th of September to about the 15th of September at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground. And we know CPL is a very, very exciting time, Jamal.
It's a highlight of the cricketing calendar for many persons all around the region. And
that's right.
Over the years, they've really earned the tag of the biggest party in sport. that perfect fusion between cricket and culture, and it's almost become inseparable. So, looking forward to some exciting stuff.
Yes, I am. I am also looking forward to some exciting stuff. We have some teams we got to touch on. We'll touch on the Trinidad team in terms of because the drafts is gone already. Teams have already selected the overseas players. They've already retained players for their respective franchises. As we could see, the Trinidad, most of the teams have already selected. And we just take a look at the Trinidad team. If the technician could just put it on the board, we'll just delve into the Trinidad team. As we could see, we see the Shakiri Paris, and we have Nathan Edward with the sort of newcomers into that Trinidad team. And that Trinidad team has always been a quite settled team, Jamal.
Settled and a star-studded lineup, and they've really set the benchmark for dominance, excellent cricket.
Yes, definitely. You could see the likes of Bravo just coming back into that team. We have international cricketers like Casey Kati, he was part of that team last year, and he comes back. He's back again. But you could see most of those guys. I think Jason Roy is one of the newcomers from England, very explosive opening batter. And they've realized maybe they're a little bit short-handed opening the batting, so they've added Jason Roy to their batting. Tim David, who used to play for the St. Lucia Kings, is part of the Trinidad team. Salam Keel, who played last year, also left-arm orthodox, bowling really well. I think the conditions in the Caribbean suits him quite well. As you know, spinners get quite a bit of purchase on the Caribbean pitches. And we just touch on the under 23 there in Nathan Edward. I'm not sure if you've heard about him, but he was part of the World Cup, the World Cup squad, the National World Cup under 19 team that just played, the West Indies under 19 team that just played the World Cup in South Africa. Nathan Edward is from St. Martin, but he has either his mother or his father is of St. Lucian descent. Is St. Lucian, and the other parents should be Dominican. So he is a Windward Islander, actually playing for the Leewards in first class cricket and under 19 cricket.
But based on his talent and ability, Gary, do you think that that's one that we've lost?
I do think so. I do think so. Very, very good all-rounder in the making. I think he had some experience playing in not the IPL, but in those leagues, in one of the leagues in Dubai or Sri Lanka. He had some experience playing there. So very good up-and-coming all-rounder, left-arm seamer and left-hand batter. He was just part of the Rising Stars on the 19 tournament, the recently concluded Rising Stars on the 19 tournament. So I would have coached the Windwards on the 19 and played against them. But yes, really, really good batter, and I'm looking forward to a lot from him in the near future. You look at the guys like Mark Dial, who was there last year. He also played for St. Lucia before. He was part of the St. Lucia franchise for maybe a couple of years. Cannot recall the exact timeline, but at least 2 years. Pretty settled team in the Trinidad Knight Riders. What do you expect from them, Jamal?
Well, as mentioned previously, this has been the most consistent team in the CPL. I think they would have captured the championship, I think, for about 3 years already.
Yes, if memory serves me right, they've won it for more than about 3 years or more. They've won it for. I think they and Jamaica Talawas would have been almost level with championships, or maybe Trinidad just getting ahead of them quite a bit, maybe by one. But yeah.
Gary, but I am a math teacher by profession, and it just seems to me that Trinidad
I know you like
really,
your numbers, yeah.
Yes, they really worked out the ideal formula for lifting championships. You see, they're a perfect mixture between experience and youth, I mean, nobody more experienced than Dwayne Bravo, the most wickets in T20 cricket.
For sure, for sure.
There is Kyron Pollard, now coaching in England, playing the 100, coming back to play the CPL, former West Indies captain. There's Andre Russell there as well. There's Nicholas Puran.
Yeah. Very, very formidable team.
Power pack
What
team.
I do think of the Trinidad franchise and what I've seen with them over the years is the consistency with the players that they've picked. They've backed those players, and they've continued picking those players, whether they've had a good season or not. So I do think one of the strengths of the Trinidad team is just the fact that they have a pretty settled unit. Maybe one or two guys coming in, they draft one or two guys, but pretty settled unit. Most of the guys that you will see within the Trinidad setup, you would have seen them for the past 2 years or the past 3 years. So I think that's one of the things that work for them. I think also they have what the two is sort of try to, in terms of their homegrown players, give them opportunities. I do think that they give a lot of their youngsters quite a bit of opportunities in order to showcase their talents and sort of stick with them for quite a while. And you could see some of those things are paying dividends for people like Terence Hines, who just came in for the past 2 years, and he's done well for them. Like I said, Mac Diallo was with St. Lucia. They've taken him. I'm not sure what happened, but he's gone to his native country because he's a Trinidadian, so he's gone back home. Puran also was with the Amazon Warriors, and he's gone back to Trinidad and has gone back home. And I do know that within that culture, especially with the captain Kyron Pollard, it's a pretty tight-knit team that they have. What are you sort of expecting from them? Do you think that the good enough team this year to go for the title?
Actually,
make a title
I actually
run,
thought that they were good enough last year to have taken the title. It was quite surprising to me that they lost out to Guyana in that final. Guyana, the consummate bridesmaids of the tournament, 6 finals previously, before that, the 7th one, and they finally got over the line. I just thought that beforehand, Trinidad had it covered. And that's what I find about this Trinidadian team. They always cover all bases. So Gary, you know, as a coach, Salam Keel, the left arm, Akil Hussein, the left arm spin. So you have wrist spin, you have the off spin in Mark Dayal, Bat at the top order who can give you some overs, powerful arounders. Russell, you have Pollard who bowls as well, Bravo who bowls as well. Jaden Seals will be the spearhead, I think, with the new ball. So they've covered all bases, and most of the wickets take to spin. All right. There's definitely some purchase of the wicket to be gleaned, and with a power pack spinning lineup, I think that in with a shout, as they always are.
Yes, I do think yes, and like you said, most of the areas that they've thought that they needed assistance in, I think they've rectified that. Like I said, Salam Keel was bowls left hand, back of the hand, and then you have Akil Hussein, who opens the bowling at international level for the West Indies. And he has done very, very well opening the bowling, and I could tell you it's a very, very difficult task opening the bowling spin in a T20 match at international level with only 2 men protecting the boundary. So
you would know that well. You would have done that for the West Indies.
Yes, for the West Indies. So it's a very, very difficult task, and sometimes we underestimate how difficult it is to open the bowling as a spinner in a T20 game. But you look at the experience. And I think that's one of the things that would probably, or most of the times, get them over the line. When you look at the experience of Pollard, you look at the experience of Dwayne Bravo, Andrew Russell, Puran. He's young, but he's played quite a bit of T20 cricket. And he's been playing cricket all over the globe, and he's been doing quite well. Very, very dangerous player. So, as a matter of fact, you have 2 of the most dangerous players in the West Indies setup on that team, which is Russell and Puran. So those 2 guys, a lot will be asked of them in terms of getting their teams over the line. And you look at the 100, we've seen age has done nothing to Kyron Pollard. He's been doing exceptionally well. We saw he took Rashid Khan apart for 5 sixes
That was
in and
amazing.
over
That
in the
was-
100 to
that
get
was
his
truly
team
amazing.
over the line. It was truly amazing
But Gary,
hitting
could you
by Kyron.
imagine, just imagine, we've mentioned all of these names. When you left out the spin wizard, Sunil Narayan is
Oh
part
yes,
of that team.
Sunil Narayan, and that's a really, really good point in terms of Sunil Narayan. Look at how he performed at the IPL, batting also, opening the batting for the Kolkata Knight Riders. I'm not sure how Trinidad is going to go about using him within their setup in
So
this
many
year's
options, so many
CPL.
options.
But yes, they have so many options, and it will be very, very exciting to watch the Trinidad team.
But my question to you, you've had Casey Cotty making his test debut, looking silky smooth, looking the part.
Yes.
Do you think that there is space for him in this Trinidadian top order?
I do, and I'll tell you why. I think
And at
some of,
whose
the games,
expense?
some of the games that he played last year, in the last year, he wasn't, in the first couple of games, he didn't get in. But when he got into the team, he showed his worth. I do think, especially playing on those pitches that we have here, you need a batsman of that caliber, somebody who knows the wickets, and he's coming from playing Test cricket, he's coming from playing international cricket, so that would bode well for him going into the CPL. You have guys like Jaden Seals, who's been playing international cricket, and
He's
let
been
me
our
tell you,
best
he's
seamer.
growing
Been
into
our
his
best
own
seamer to
as
me.
the leader of the attack in the absence of
Alzari.
Alzari Joseph, and you could see he did fantastically well even when Kim Roach was not present. We saw how he has performed in the Test match. Now we know Test match cricket and T20 cricket are two different ball games, but I do think he could, with that form that he has with the ball lately, I do think that he could transform and see and adapt into a T20 caliber bowler. But yes, Jamal, you look at the Trinidad team, really good experienced team. They've always had that experience. Trinidad has always been a threat in the CPL, regardless of what team they put out. And just have the leadership of Pollard, who's a former West Indies captain, says a lot for them, and it only augurs well for that team. So I am looking forward to good things from that Trinidad team. And like I said, the spinning wizard, Sunil Narayan, he's always done well for whichever franchise that he plays on, and whichever conditions.
I have a question for you, Gary, because you would have played the CPL now. A lot of persons would not like to admit this, but in these dressing room conversations, knowing that you're coming up against a team of that might, of that caliber, what are the conversations like? Is there a sense of fear, do you believe? I know you might not want to admit that, but knowing that star-studded lineup, is there a sense of fear? What's it like?
I do think, for me, and I've always told as a coach, and I was a player before, for sure, I've always told my players, if you are not nervous, then that means you're not human. Yeah, the nervousness helps you perform very, very well. So it's okay to have nerves. It's okay to sort of know what your opponent is capable of, but not worship it. Yeah, because if you're going into a game, for me, if you're going to a game with the mindset that Jamal is better than me, I'm already putting myself at a disadvantage. Now, you talk about the conversations that are being had within the dressing room setup. And for me, the first thing that a coach would go into, and the night before, and even reiterate that during the dressing room conversations, are the plans that you have for each player, whether it be a bowler, whether it be a batter, and the plans you have for each bowler. So, for instance, our plans, and I remember clearly when I won the CPL with Jamaica, our plans against Sunil Narayan when we came up against him was to sort of, he has 4 overs.
Yeah? Play him out.
Not just play him out. If you could get 6 runs and over from him without even looking to hit big boundaries and not giving him, because the most important thing is to ensure that he has nothing in the wickets column. If he has something in the wickets column, then that means he's causing trouble. But if he has nothing in the wickets column and he's gone for 24, 6 fours or 24, he's bowling 4 overs, right? He's gone for 24. most people would have told you, will tell you, boy, when you come up against Trinidad, you only have 16 overs because you will not be able to get Narayan for over 30.
It's true.
Yeah, so essentially, if you played smart, what we were looking to do is to sort of just hit him around, just knock him around the field, knock him around the park, and then maybe you get an the odd edge. Maybe he bowl, something too close, and that goes maybe one or two boundaries within his spell. But as long as you're able to rotate the strike against him and not give him any wickets, you're winning. You're winning the game because Trinidad really relies on Narayan to win games for them by taking wickets. Because you could see he's winning the games. If most of the time he's taking wickets, he's not going for any runs. And most of the times, if you look at Narayan's economy rate for the amount of cricket that he's played, I don't think it has ever passed six.
It's true.
So when three or four, about 5 thereabouts. So when a bowler is bowling like that, I think you have to play with a little more head, as opposed to sort of being arrogant and looking to take him on. So the smartest thing for any team would have been, and I remember Coach Paul Nixon at the time, that was the plan. So anytime we came up, we had maybe two games against them, 3 games against them. Every time we came up against them, it's just to ensure that he goes for about 20 or 24, and there's 0 in the wickets column. And that helped us throughout the tournament.
But the beautiful thing about that from Trinidad is that they have empowered Akil Hussain.
Hold that thought. We're due for our second break, so we'll go to our second break because you know the importance of paying our bills. So we'll go to our second break. Hold that thought, Jamal. We'll come right back to that.
Winners TV is proud to bring to you Strictly Football. 1 hour of exciting football action from around the globe. Take in all the highlights from St. Lucia, the English Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Ligue 1 in France, the Bundesliga in Germany, and even the Jamaica Premier League. Follow your favorite teams. You don't ever have to miss a goal. Just tune in to Winners TV at 8:30 p.m. every Monday for all the weekend action and Thursdays for the week's updates. Winners TV brings all the action to you. It's Strictly Football, the action-packed highlight show, keeping you abreast with what's happening in the world of football.
Get ready to witness the future of athletics. The World Athletics Under-20 Championships Lima 24 are here, and you can catch every thrilling moment live on Winners TV. From August 27th to August 31st, watch the world's top young athletes compete in a showcase of speed, strength, and agility. See emerging stars from across the globe break records and make history. Don't miss out on the action. Tune in to Winners TV and experience the excitement of tomorrow's champions today. The World Athletics Under-20 Championships Lima 24, where greatness begins.
CPL T20 Cricket returns to the Caribbean for the 12th season from August 29th to October 6, 2024. And Winners TV, the official CPL television broadcaster for St. Lucia, will bring every one of the 34 matches. The big names in cricket, both regional and international, will be there. Be part of the CPL experience by tuning in to Winners TV to join the fun and excitement. Live matches, highlights, and special player interviews. Winners TV got it all. CPL T20, the 2024 edition, is the biggest party in sports. Watch it all live, exclusively on Winners TV, starting August 29th.
Good night again, viewers. We are back again. Jamal talking a lot more CPL. And don't forget, this year's CPL again is presented by our title sponsor, Republic Bank. And we just want to round up the Trinidad team, and your thoughts are that they will get quite far in that tournament.
They usually do.
Okay, they usually do. So Jamal's thoughts are that they will get quite far in the tournament. I think they have enough experience to do that. a few seasoned campaigners. We move on to our next team, the new team of the tournament, Jamal, Antigua Falcons. We had this quite a new franchise. I remember there was a franchise, and let's let our viewers know there was a franchise in Antigua before, which was the Antigua Hawks. I mean, I know in the inaugural CPL, Johnson Charles was part of that team. And you just look at the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons. Just looking at this team there, you have Justin Greaves, Amadullah Amazai, Jama Hamilton, Teddy Bishop, Kofi James, Joshua James, Joel Anju, Kelvin Pittman, Shema Springer, Hayden Walsh, Faka Zaman, Chris Green, Mohamed Amir, Fabian Allen, Brendan King, Imad Wazim, and Russian Primus. What do you think, Jamal?
Seems like they are following the Trinidadian model, experience and youth in combination. You do have international players in the ranks and significant Pakistani presence. Faka Zaman, destructive opening batter.
Yes, and as you would know, or I'm not sure if you would have known, this Antigua Falcons team is almost the most of those players were part of the Jamaica Talawas team, which is no longer part of the CPL. So it looks like the Jamaica team has now sort of moved to Antigua, and you can see
home there.
Yeah, they found a home in Antigua. Beautiful place to play cricket. The fans support the cricket quite a bit there. It's always a party playing in Antigua, and I'm certainly sure the Jamaican players who have gone to that franchise would enjoy playing there. And you have the likes of their captain of last year, was Brendan King. He's been injured. It's nice to see him back into the thick of things. He's there, and you said there's a huge Pakistani presence, and Imad Wazim has been part of the Jamaica team for quite a while. When I played, he was part of that team too. You look at Mohamed Amir, who was there last year, one of the leading bowlers for that Jamaica team, who had a very good run. Then you look at guys like, you see Amazai, who's a Afghanistani in terms of your overseas players. And it's nice to see a widowed island in there. Teddy Bishop from Grenada, who's gotten an opportunity of, he's made his debut at international level this year for the West Indies, or last year, or late last year. But Teddy Bishop has played one-day cricket, I think, for the West Indies, and he comes in, the young Teddy Bishop, very talented batter. Looking forward to quite a bit from him. A newcomer again, Justin Greaves, who has been part of who just got called up to the test team, and he moved from the Windward Islands franchise to the Leeward Islands franchise. He's found a home there, and he's now part of the Antigua and Barbuda franchise, and his cricket has blossomed over there. We have the young Joel Anju, very, very exciting player. Jamal Joel Anju, who has been part of the West Indies under-19 World Cup team, wicketkeeper batter. He's been scoring hundreds. He has done well. He made his first class debut this year, and he has done very, very well and acquitted himself quite well. Russian Primus, who was part of the St. Lucia franchise last year for the last 2 years.
Contributed well.
Yes, and contributed well for that franchise. He's moved and found a home in Antigua and Barbuda. And like I said, you have a Jamaican presence there in terms of the Jamaicans that have gone there. Is Brendan King. You have Fabian Allen, who are the two Jamaicans who have gone there. But yeah, you look at this team there, a few new faces, guys who would have probably been in and around the some franchises but have not gotten the opportunity to showcase their talent. Guys like Joshua James, he was part of the Jamaica franchise also. And Hayden Walsh, he's back, and he'll feel quite happy playing at home because he plays for the Leeward Islands. Good team, and let me tell you, most of the times when people, the newer teams, sort of put up, a good fight, because there's really and truly the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, when they come up against those teams, they really have nothing to lose.
Yes, it's something to say about untested commodities.
That's true.
They play with that freedom, the weight and burden of expectation. They're free from that. Yes. Guys like Teddy Bishop have a chance to introduce themselves once more to the fans. Play against some quality cricketers, some big names. Really looking forward to something special from this youngster. But it must be said, when you've put up the Trinidadian team on the screen, and you compare that to the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, you have no choice. You must label these guys as the underdogs of the tournament.
Yes, the underdogs of the tournament, because they're a new team. I'm certainly sure the rest of the teams are not going to take them lightly, because they have within their team is quite a bit of experience. Within their team, you have guys who've played Test cricket within that team. You have Jamal Hamilton, who's a wicketkeeper batter, who has captained the Leewards franchise for a number of years and still playing. And the Leeward Islands have been doing very, very well at first class cricket. So his leadership, he's been very, very instrumental in bringing that level of cricket up at the Leeward Islands franchise. So most of the guys, they have a few young players who would relish the opportunity to play that level of cricket, and they would be hungry. So they're not a team to take lightly, but when they come up against any team, you would like to think that they will be the underdogs.
For sure. But just taking a look at this team, you see some quality in the bowling. You see Imad Wazim to open the bowling with some left-arm spin.
Especially Mohamed Amir.
These are proven performers.
For Jamaica. And he came back out of retirement, gets back into the Pakistan team and played the World Cup. So
testament to his quality.
Exactly. So they're not... Chris Green, yes.
But my point is that with all of this quality here, and you have Fak as a man at the top, you have Fabian, ball striker, prominent ball striker in the middle. But who's going to score the runs for this team?
Well, Brendan King is there, who's the captain. And Brendan King, last year, almost single-handedly took Jamaica to the final again. Brendan King, if he shows any of the half of that sort of form that he had last year, he would be very... And I'll tell you what, you mentioned him, and then you mentioned Fakhar Zaman, who's an opener. Right? And Fakhar Zaman is opening for Pakistan, and you put those two together with a left hand and a right hand combination, and they could be very, very difficult and very dangerous at the top of the order for them. And then you have the likes of Fabian Allen, who comes down in the middle to do the heavy lifting in terms of the big hitting for them. He would have a point to prove it, because he would want to get back into the international team, especially playing the T20 version. So you have a few guys. Shamar Springer, who's not to be underestimated, who has done quite well for the Windward Islands in the recently concluded for the tournament, and he's ever improving. He made 100, so he's a very good all-rounder. Matter of fact, bowling all-rounder. So you have quite, for me, in terms of when you look at this team, you could see a little bit of inexperience, maybe one or two guys, but when you look at this team in terms of the 11 that's going to be on the park, they're not short of cricket. They're quite experienced. The only thing that they're short of is maybe some of them playing consistently at that level, not at that level, but playing consistently in the CPL. But most of them, those players who would come into that setup, especially in the first 11, would have had the experience playing at international level or playing at the CPL level. So to be quite frank, I do not think that they're a team to be taken lightly. and I know that their coach would be Shivnarine Chanderpaul. So the very same staff that was with the Jamaica team when they won 2 years ago, right, is the very same staff that's going to be with that team there. So there's some familiarity with the staff and some of the players. They would be familiar with each other. I'm certainly sure Brendan King would, if he's the captain, we're not sure yet, he would have, know how to navigate things with the guidance of his coach Shivnarine Chanderpaul and the rest of the staff. But I do think that they're a team to look out for. They're not coming up against any of those teams that have been in the CPL. You would label them as the underdogs, but
Almost
you know what they say
your own
about
peril,
underdogs.
though.
Pardon?
Almost your own peril to label them like that.
Yes. I think the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, I'm excited to watch them play, and I do think they should be able to handle themselves quite well, and maybe try to get as far as they can in deep into the playoffs.
It's just that for me, you mentioned a string of quality cricketers, each team for sure.
Yes.
It's franchise cricket, so you pull in guys that you believe are going to do the business for you. But you would know, Gary, that you need that little extra edge. You need that extra bit of something, that to get you over the line. So, and it's also about partnerships. So you mentioned, okay, at the top of the order, you have Farka and you have Brandon King. In the middle order for the runs, this is where I'm not really seeing
too much.
Fabian coming in towards the end, right? The back end is where he has proven to be his most dangerous. He's a ball striker to be feared. But you need guys in that middle order there who can dig you out of a hole, beat the ball around and take it to the end. When you look at that Trinidadian team, the Guyana team, the St. Lucian team there, you can see that. But you have a bunch of youngsters who are unproven at that level. So this is where I think that the trouble is for this team.
Yes, and I share your sentiments, but just being devil's advocate here, you look at this team and then you talk about the middle. Not forgetting the Jamaica team last year. Imad Wazim was very instrumental with getting them over the line quite a bit of times. Then you look at Jamal Hamilton, who's played international cricket, who's played test cricket. Justin Greaves, who is a batting all-rounder. Ball seam, could bat. And then Amazai, you have quite a few guys. I do think that they, in terms of the middle order, and what would work for them, is that most of those guys would have just played the recently concluded World Cup in the Caribbean. So those guys would have had the experience, and most of the guys that they have, especially with the overseas players, all of them would have played in the Caribbean.
I read the bowling.
Yes, would have played in the Caribbean.
The bowling is a dangerous unit. It's the batting for me.
I also thought last year, and even the year when Jamaica won, I thought maybe one of the players only did the heavy lifting, and most of the guys were batting around him, and that was Brendan King.
Possibly going in the same formula.
And possibly going with the same formula. And Brendan King, he seldom fails the Jamaica team, especially at the CPL level. So we've seen what he can do, and as long as Brendan King, and we've seen a more mature Brendan King, especially with his approach to his innings, and most of the times, because with the hundreds that he scored, within at international or CPL level, you can see that sort of maturity. But we are due for our final break. Jamal, we have a lot more cricket to discuss within the final break. We have another team to discuss again in our final break. So we go pay some bills now.
Get Get ready to witness the future of athletics. The World Athletics Under-20 Championships Lima 24 are here, and you can catch every thrilling moment live on Winners TV. From August 27th to August 31st, watch the world's top young athletes compete in a showcase of speed, strength, and agility. See emerging stars from across the globe break records and make history. Don't miss out on the action. Tune in to Winners TV and experience the excitement of tomorrow's champions today. The World Athletics Under-20 Championships Lima 24, where greatness begins.
CPL T20 Cricket returns to the Caribbean for the 12th season from August 29th to October 6, 2024. And Winners TV, the official CPL television broadcaster for St. Lucia, will bring every one of the 34 matches. The big names in cricket, both regional and international, will be there. Be part of the CPL experience by tuning in to Winners TV to join the fun and excitement. Live matches, highlights, and special player interviews. Winners TV got it all. CPL T20, the 2024 edition, is the biggest party in sports. Watch it all live, exclusively on Winners TV, starting August 29th.
Welcome to Winners Sports Beat.
For the most comprehensive sports news broadcast, tune in to Winners Sports Beat, weeknights at 7:30 p.m. Sports Beat features the latest scores, news highlights, and interviews that keeps sports fans informed on what's happening in sports. Winners Sports Beat captures the pulse of the sports world. Watch Sports Beat for exclusive inside information and breaking news on what's really happening behind the scenes. Sports Beat covers the big games, the big plays, and the big wins. Watch Winners Sports Beat weeknights at 7:30 p.m. with daily repeats.
Good night again to our viewers, Jamal. We're back. We have a lot more cricket to discuss. We've touched on two teams so far, the Trinidad team and the new team in the Antigua Falcons. Now we're going to go to the defending champions, the Guyana Amazon Warriors, and we know that that would have been the first tournament that they've won since the inception, or since CPL first started. And if you look at the Guyana, the defending champions, they retained most of their squad. You know, all of their players, most of their players have been retained, and rightly so. That's what you would have expected, right?
Most definitely. And Gary, as a coach, you would know it's been said so many times. Why change a winning team?
Yes. So there's no need to. So I would like to think that the Guyana Amazon Warriors, they done the right thing in terms of bringing back their champion team. And just to make mention of their teams, you have Romario Shepherd, the all-rounder, West Indies international. Ronaldo Ali Mohammed, another all-rounder. Raymond Rifa, an all-rounder. Ramadullah Gubaz, batter and wicketkeeper, very dangerous batter. Shamar Joseph, we all know about him. Siam Ayub, Kevlon Anderson, Azam Khan. We have Sinclair, Dwayne Pretorius, Matthew Nandu, Kudigesh Moti, Kevin Sinclair, Imran Tayer, who was the captain, Shai Hope, Kimo Paul, Shimran Hetimaya. Quite a bit of international experience there. Jamal, you have, let's talk about Romario Shepherd, who has been an integral, a key player for the West Indies. And he's back in there, and they will be relying on him quite a bit to continue those exploits from last year.
His stocks would have really risen after some wonderful performances in recent times. But that name, Romario Shepherd, Gary, I mean, a lot of persons would have been disappointed with that performance in the World Cup. So
absolutely sure he himself would have been disappointed with his performances in the World Cup, and we know he would have known within himself he could have acquitted himself much better than he did in that recently concluded World Cup. And so they show he's been working hard behind the scenes to come back and show what he can do.
As you would expect of a quality cricketer.
Very much so. You have Raymond Rifa, who's been very experienced test player for the West Indies. Not in the West Indies setup right now, but he'll have a point to prove. Very smart cricketer, especially with the change of pace, and also he's a sort of a batting. Well, he is a batting all-rounder. Ramadullah Gurbaz, who set the tournament alight for the Afghanistan team, opening batter and wicketkeeper. Also, he set the IPL alight for the Calcutta Knight Riders and also helped them win the IPL this year. So some experience there at the top of the order. You have Shamar Joseph. We all know of his exploits in Australia. He just took a fifer in Guyana, first fifer at home in the last test match against South Africa. You have Siam Ayub, who is the Pakistani opening batter. He's from Pakistan, and we could see that he set the tournament alight last year for Guyana. Was one of the reasons why they actually won that tournament, because
he made his name.
Yes, he actually made his name from that tournament. Kevlon Anderson, another Guyanese batter. We have Azam Khan. We all know how dangerous he can be as a batter. Also, he'll probably be doing a lot of the heavy lifting for Pakistan, for Guyana Amazon Warriors within the middle. We have the Sinclair of spinner. We know about their flips in terms of their celebrations. We've loved that. Doing Pretorius, they bring him. He's been brought back again, and he did very well for them last year, being instrumental in taking them to the final and winning. Mafre Nandu, another batter. We have not heard too much about him, but at first class level, he's been scoring quite a bit of runs for the Guyana first class team. Godakesh Moti, who has been in fine form at T20 level for the West Indies, and he'll be hoping to continue in that vein in the CPL. He would be part of that T20 team that will be playing against South Africa. And the very experienced Taye is back as the captain, very instrumental again in terms of his leadership and just guiding them to winning the first ever tournament. And we know they've gotten to 6 finals before, and last year would have been the first time that they were victorious in that tournament. Question for you, Jamal: what do you think over the years has caused the Guyana teams not to get over the line? I know that's a difficult question, but hopefully you could put something together in terms of just letting us know, just putting your coach's brain there, let us know give me your opinion.
It's usually a difficult question.
Very.
It's usually a combination of factors that would be the reason why you can't get over the line. But you must mention that this is a team that has had unyielding consistency.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
So they've been perennial bridesmaids, 6 finals. We've had about 11 years of CPL, and to have made the finals 6 times and to fall so agonizingly short. I mean, something has gone wrong. So they would have changed the team a couple of times, changed the leadership. So they've been trying different things, but for some strange reason, haven't been able to get across the line.
Yes. They've had some
I didn't really answer your question.
Yeah, you didn't really answer it, but they've had some really good teams getting before, and they've always put a good team on the pack, and obviously you could see the consistency in them getting to different finals for the 6 years that they've gotten to. So they've had quite formidable teams.
But it must be mentioned here that the final is a different kettle of fish. It comes with a different pressure. And I think that some of the finals that have been played in Guyana, and the Guyanese crowd is a hard crowd to please. So sometimes when things don't go the way of the Guyanese team, they themselves sometimes put additional pressure on the team. And sometimes that can be a hard thing to rise up against.
Yes, as we can see, some highlights from last year's final. You can see they were played at home, and Ayub looking very, very destructive there, Jamal. And like you said, he had been destructive throughout the tournament, just guiding Guyana to that final. You could see in his celebration, their first tournament. They've gotten to 6 finals, but it's the first time that they've been crowned champions under the stewardship of Imran Taye, very experienced international player.
But it must be said, Gary, this is the oldest man in the tournament. So what I think that they did differently for that time, they instilled faith in an experienced player but a passionate cricketer, Imran Taye, and a new leader.
Yeah.
Because this is not a man who would have led at the international level. Has just been playing his cricket, has led the bowling department for South Africa, but never led the team. So Guyana took a different punt, going a different route in order to achieve a different result.
Very much so. And we spoke about Trinidad, and we spoke about the consistency in picking players. Guyana has shown that for the past few years. Even with this squad, you would not have seen Odin Smith, who had been part of that squad for the past 3 years or so. Yeah, so he's now with the St. Kitts Patriots, and Veerasamy Permaul. So really and truly, they've kept quite a bit of their squad together. Yes, the nucleus of the team is still there. And I think one of the reasons, yes, they've gotten to 6 different finals, but I think they've been, in terms of the consistency, especially from whoever is picking their teams or whoever is drafting their teams, they've shown quite a bit of faith in their players throughout the years. And you would like to think if they've gotten to 6 finals, it would only be a matter of time before they could have, won one. It's just like being a striker, or you're playing football. If you're taking shots at goal, if you take 10 shots, chances are you might score 1 or 2. Exactly. Again, you're the numbers guy, so there's the law of averages. I was super happy for the Guyana franchise, to be quite honest. I think just the cricket that they've played for the past few years, I think that if there was one team or there was one franchise who deserved to win a CPL tournament, it would have been Guyana, based on the consistency that they've shown throughout the years. And I know that their fans would have been disappointed, but the good thing is their fans, they have very, very loyal fans, and the fans have stuck with them and supported them. And I played, and like I said, I played the CPL and I played games in Guyana, and I could tell you about the lines prior to the lines that are outside. In terms of people coming to watch those games prior to the games being started. So Guyana's fans are a set of people who support their teams quite well.
It's really amazing to just watch it on your screen. I haven't been fortunate enough to play the CPL, but it's amazing to watch. What they also did, they invested in a new opener in Saim Ayub.
Yes.
An unproven, untested quality at the international level at that time.
Quite an unknown at that time.
Right.
None of us knew about it.
They brought out something different. And the way that he acquitted himself with the bat was really special.
Very, very special. Matter of fact, like I said, I do think one of the, Imran Taye, the experience that he brought, and like I said, he's the oldest player in the CPL, but the experience he brought, to this team contributed immensely to them winning that tournament. But when you look at the contributions that Saim Ayub made on top of the order in terms of not only scoring runs quite quickly, but sort of keeping his wicket intact. And most of the times, a coach would tell you in a CPL game, or a team would tell you in a CPL game, for your team to sort of post totals or even get over the line in terms of winning games, somebody in the top 5 has to get an 80 odd, a 60 odd, or sort of bat through the inning also to ensure that they get their team over the line. And that was what he was actually doing. And not forgetting, Shai Hope in that very same tournament was when we sort of saw Shai Hope turn the corner in terms of his performances.
Complete transformation.
Complete transformation in terms of his performances at in the T20s. And so I do think, again, Guyana, the defending champions, we will see how they perform. They kept the nucleus of their team, kept the 90% of their team is there still. And I'm certainly sure they will be eyeing a second final again.
Just never know, but these are proven performers.
Yes,
they've done the job, so they know how to get to the group stages, get through that, and get to the finals. So it remains to be seen. We might just see another guy in the Trinidad finals.
Yes.
I might be calling it a bit too early, but
another guy in the Trinidad finals. Don't forget, we have not spoken about in our next show. We'll talk about St. Lucia. St. Lucia. There are quite a few other franchises that we have to touch on, and we have to sort of when the audience will join us next week.
But
next week, Tuesday.
I must apologize because after hearing the inspirational speech from Sammy, that big thing that have been happening for St. Lucia this year, we cannot count out the St. Lucia franchise.
No, we cannot count them out, and we'll talk about them when our viewers join us next Tuesday. But Jamal, we run out of time. It has been fantastic having you here for sure with us. Final thoughts?
It's honestly been a pleasure making my debut and sharing my passion insights with the nation. Just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I know that with Clivers being gone, you guys have such chemistry, and it would be a big task to fill in the shoes of a man like that. And I'm hoping to continue and looking forward to next week.
Yes, Jamal, we've heard it from Jamal. You batted well, and I know that you are an opening batter, and then you've acquitted yourself quite well. We're happy to have you at the nation. I'm certainly sure our viewers are happy that in terms of the information and that you've a great cricket brain, a lot of information in there, and we look forward to continuing this partnership with you on the nation. We ask you again. We know that our fans have missed us quite a bit. We've not had a few shows, and with the absence of Clivers, we've not had a few shows in a while. But we are back, and we are kicking. CPL is round the corner. We have a lot of international cricket, so we will be on air every Tuesday night at the same time. But we want to thank our viewers for tuning in today. And from me personally, for me being the host, it's the first time for me hosting. I've been co-hosting with Clivers. I've had quite a bit of fun with you, Jamal, hosting. And we look forward to having a lot more fun on the Cricket Nation. So with that being said, we just want to tell our viewers a good night, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday next week.